It's definitely hot here in North Carolina, just like it's hot in California and in Spain and a number of other places as well. Going to bring Rick on, see what we've got going on the political landscape and all along those lines. But I do sometimes wonder if heat makes folks grumpy and our politicians grumpy as well, because I'm thinking that heat makes folks sleepy, but it might also make folks grumpy as well, and maybe that impacts our politics. So definitely, I'll bring on Rick and see what he's got to say about this notion of
I
heat.
haven't been out yet
Thank
today, but my wife just came home and she says it's a mess out there, that people are uh, acting crazy, driving badly, which is pretty much LA all the time, but it doesn't help that it's 95 degrees and but we're going to have 98-degree temperatures for the next week, which, I mean, if you're going to have 98, at least we're having them in August when it
right.
makes some kind of sense, I guess.
Yeah, and I know that there are about to be some outside events in September. I'm always concerned, even though we used to do the Blues Festival in September, about September events, particularly in the South, because this is also hurricane season, which means that a storm could pop up and wreck outside events as well. But hopefully that won't be the case with the events that I'm aware of.
Has school started for you?
Yep, school started. My nephew is in school. I think the high schools may start later and everything. I'm trying to think if they're back in session yet. But yeah, most definitely the college kids are back, and I'm trying to remember if the high school kids are back or not. But yeah, school is definitely getting out there, and the kids are trying to get acclimated and all in that space. I just saw that cabinet member Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says Trump eats boxes and boxes of McDonald's when traveling. So apparently he likes McDonald's when he's going
Yeah,
out traveling.
he's known for that.
He- But boxes and boxes, how many McDonald's burgers do you get if you're getting boxes and boxes?
I don't know. I mean, when I was young and trying to put on weight, I would buy 2 Big Macs and then I'd throw away half the bread. And I mean, I did it. I wasn't a football player, but all the football players did it. That you make a giant meat stack. I don't think Trump does it, but yeah, it takes more than one burger to get full, even if you're not Trump.
Even if you're not Trump, it takes a while to get full, and all along those lines, it takes a minute to get full and see what that's going to go into and everything like that. You asked me about the school schedule, so I'm actually looking that up right now.
I'm just asking because it's 1,000,000 degrees here, and this is already week 2 of school in LA. And it used to be in LA that school wouldn't start for another month till the end of September, and it would roll into June because early September was usually the hottest time of year in LA. But they've changed it now, and we're starting in mid-August, and so kids are going to be in school, for lots of, nearly 100-degree days.
And I'm sure the kids in here in Durham are not excited because I just looked it up. The required teacher work days have been this week that we're in and everything like that. But the first day of school for the kids is the 24th, which is next Monday or this coming Monday and everything like that. So I'm sure they're trying to get their last bit of fun in and all along those lines, because that is when they will be going if they're doing traditional school and all in that space. We do have other kind of schools as well, but the traditional calendar, they would be starting school on the 24th and everything like that. It looks like the first day of school for the year round was the 20th. So they've already, no, that would be today. So they've already got back in school and everything like that. So yeah, their freedom is ending and they're now having to go back into the
and I guess if we want to tie this to the news, we should mention, that schools are in an uproar over AI, that people are getting, there have always been reasons for people not to get educated, but now a main reason is that AI does your thinking for you and your assignments for you. And this can hurt people, educationally.
Yeah, and I did see that. I guess that Prince Harry and his wife Meghan are getting ready to move back to London with the kids and everything. I think part of that might be because of school, because I think that they're supposed to be attending school in getting a English education and everything like
Yeah.
that. But I read where they are going to be heading back home, even though there is some dissension between the royal family and Harry.
So their kids are 7 and 5 years old.
Right.
And I'm sure that you can get a beautiful education if you've got resources in England.
Right. So it seems like that's what.
If I had I don't know, would I want to go to school in England at that age? I doubt they're going to put their kids in a boarding school. There's plenty of boarding schools over there. And if you go to a boarding school in England, there's been lots of hazing at those schools. So I'm sure they'll be going to fine schools.
Hey, by the way, we have some news involving ISIS, and this is something that even Sasha may be interested in. But I'm seeing that as recently as an hour ago, the FBI thwarted an alleged ISIS-inspired plot to bomb the New York Capitol building. So
I saw the press conference with the FBI guy talking about it. A 35-year-old woman was radicalized online, and I missed the part where they talked about how the FBI knew exactly what she was doing, but obviously they were pretending to be ISIS and working with her as she plotted this scheme to blow up the New York State Capitol in Albany. And they have all sorts of statements where she said that she didn't want to just kill 2 people. That wouldn't be worth anything. That she wanted to blow up a lot of people, destroy a lot of documents. They sold her a gun. They have footage of her at Home Depot buying nails, which is what you pack around an explosive to make a devastating bomb. I mean, it's one of those deals where they found a dangerous lunatic and worked with her to incriminate her. And yeah, it's
another choice I'm seeing
great, but the 2 good points is the FBI had an eye on her the whole time, and the second good point is that she seems to, even though she thought she was working with a group, she was really working alone.
Yeah, she was being fooled and everything that by the FBI. It looks like Melania Trump is in the news because apparently she said that I heard you miss me, here I am, and everything like that. So she's appeared at the Rose Garden event. There was supposed to be a nod to one of her causes because she apparently is promoting her advocacy for foster children, and it concluded with executives from IndyCar and Fox presenting it with an oversized novelty check for a $2 million donation to fund scholarships at Indiana University and Purdue University. So during the event, the First Lady, who joked about her lack of recent public appearances, spoke about her desire to help young people from the foster care community go to college. So apparently she's trying to get them to go to college. And apparently her husband, Donald Trump, attended the event, but he did not speak. He seemed less than riveted by the proceedings. So there were some times that he seemed like he might have been dozing off. And I know that there was a lot of noise about Biden when he was in office and whether he was dozing off. So it looks like he might have been dozing off. I'm actually looking at one of the pictures, and he definitely looked like he's dozing off of. And this seems like an important cause, the cause around foster care and everything like that. But I guess he doesn't care because it's not putting any money in his pocket. So
not that it matters, but she actually looked pretty happy to be announcing this initiative. And doing something for foster kids, it's a good thing. It doesn't make up for the disaster that this presidency has been, but okay.
Yeah, and then I also saw that there's a lot of controversy around this because Trump likes these women to surround him, and a lot of them are these blonde types and everything like that. So we know that the press secretary has left, and now he's facing scrutiny over his top aide, Natalie Harper. So what is our take on Ms. Harper? She's just another one of these blonde women that seems to be following around Trump and all along those lines. But it does seem like there are some people that are kind of...
All right, so with Trump, I know Sasha gets frustrated when we come on and we talk about like trivial bullshit all for half an hour. But the deal is with Trump, it's hard to separate the trivial bullshit from the serious bullshit. And Natalie Hart is this young woman, very dedicated to Trump. She's shown her dedication by sleeping in a locker room at his golf club to be closer to him, because the other staffers tried to put her in a room that was far away from him. They tried to not let her ride along on some presidential trip, so she crawled into the trunk of an SUV. She prints out articles about and tweets about Trump. She has a big stack of them on paper, and then deep into the night, she sits with Trump or stands next to him and shows him these articles and tweets that are favorable to him, and asks him which of these that he wants to retweet on his Truth Social. Because he doesn't go on Twitter anymore. He doesn't get along with Twitter so much, so he has his own. So anyway, she does that deep into the night, a lot of nights. Is it goofy? Yeah. Is it worrying? I don't know. And it's not any more worrying than a lot of shit that he does.
That's true. Hey, Sasha, speaking of you and all along those lines, it looks like Romania earlier today destroyed a marine drone near a Neptune Deep gas project, according to what their minister says, and they're saying that the drone contained explosives, and the president is blaming Russia and vowing to defend Romania. So is Romania going to get pulled into this Ukrainian war as well as some of the other Eastern countries and everything like that? Because this just happened today where Romania scrambled F-16 fighter jets to destroy a marine drone spotted a few hundred meters from their Black Sea. So what is your take on what's going on there? And does this mean that the war is going to be expanding?
Well, thanks to geography, Romania is very close to Ukraine, Russia. So obviously, sooner or later, it will be involved. Whether they prefer it or not doesn't matter. But that applies to basically all world now. Somebody is close to the United States, somebody is close to Iran, somebody is close to China or elsewhere. And so everybody will be involved. There is no escape. I mean, there is not a safe place anymore when you can be absolutely assured that nothing bad will happen to you. That's the reality of this world.
So it's hard to tell what's intentional and what's accidental. Ukraine launches almost 10,000 drones on average per day. Russia launches on average 500 per day. Shahed drones, I assume these are bigger than the Ukrainian drones. Probably
not necessarily. Some of them bigger, some of them not.
All right, but anyway, with 10,000 drones flying around each day, and some of them drift into other countries, is it intentional? Maybe. Is it accidental due to the sheer number? I don't know. Ideas.
But does it have to do with trade as well? Because NATO is saying that Romania, Bulgaria, and Turkey share the Black Sea with Georgia, Russia, and Ukraine, and that they have neutralized more than 150 mines drifting across trade lanes, because there are a lot of trade lanes even in the middle of this war and everything like that. So is part of it the fact that we are dealing with a lot of trade lanes? It's not just the Strait of Hormuz in the Middle East, but it's also trade that goes on in Europe as well. So it's part of the problem that some of these mines are literally in the path of ships that are not even engaged in the war, that they're engaged in just regular trade.
You have to understand one thing: with these wars of Russia and the United States against Iran, they squandered the authority to the lowest level ever possible. So there is no authority in this world anymore. So anybody can do anything. There is no rules. There is nothing that could stop the madman or any country for acting not even to their own interest, not at all. just do anything what they want. And Trump's policies to please himself, whether it's financially or just pretending that he is doing one thing, talking a different thing, and doing yet different things, and so on. So this is absolutely, you have to wait until midterm election, and hopefully Trump would be stopped by losing Congress and the House, the Senate and the House. So this way, and generally wait for 2028 election.
So, yeah, we have 75 days until the midterms. That's less than 11 weeks. The U.S. used to be, we thought we were the good guys after we helped the world win World War II against some truly bad guys. And that framed our action in the world. Now, we got up to all sorts of no good via the CIA. We'd knock over countries. We knocked over the government of Iran in the 1950s, that there was a guy in power who was the oil companies didn't like, that he wanted to hold on to revenue, and I don't remember the details, but we knocked him out and replaced him with a king, the Shah of Iran, who ruled Iran until 79 in kind of a harsh way with secret police, but wasn't paying much attention to the unrest in his country. He was dying of cancer. He was distracted. And that allowed the mullahs, the ayatollahs, to come in and take over. But in the 70s, 80s, the Americans got frustrated with the CIA shenanigans, passed laws making it illegal for the CIA to engage in regime change in other countries. But the guardrails that the U.S. had, because we thought of ourselves as the good guys, have been eroded. The Bush's Iran war, the second Bush, when he lied us, Iraq war number 2, when he lied about weapons of mass destruction, and we went in there and knocked down Saddam Hussein and had no plan. And that was, a big step in the wrong direction. And then Trump has no guardrails, and we're acting like a bully. And Sasha is right that there's nobody in charge because the U.S. is drunk.
But speaking of the U.S. being drunk, and Sasha, this is for you, because I know that you have talked about the impact, as has Ivan when he's been on your show, and others as well, including definitely Steve and others. Drones is the new way of doing battle and everything like that. But the U.S. Army is planning to phase out a drone battalion tasked just last year with studying and taking on the broad lessons on drone warfare, including those from the ongoing Ukraine war. So if drones are the new face of modern warfare, why would we go back to doing things the old-fashioned way? Because that's partially what this article is saying, that multiple current and former U.S. officials told CBS that the decision to nix the unit came amid tensions between the senior officers who championed the battalion and General Christopher Leneve, the acting chief of staff of the Army. But it definitely was trying to do more knowledge of drone warfare and how to make drone warfare work. But now they're going back to doing things in the more traditional battalion kind of method. So and it seems to me from what I'm hearing from both you and others, it's not just Ukraine, it's in the Middle East, it's in African countries, there's a number of other places, that drones is the new way of doing warfare. So why would we as Americans be trying to do it the old-fashioned way?
Because that's where the money is.
Okay. Also, in the 1920s, 1930s, Stalin was dictator of the Soviet Union, and he was very paranoid, and he surrounded himself with killers like Beria, who shared his paranoia and encouraged it, and Stalin killed all the competent generals. So when they had to go to war against Germany, it probably cost them, like, I don't know, Sasha knows better than I do, but it cost them like months and years of progress because they didn't have competent leaders because they'd all been killed. And we're seeing a similar thing, minus the killing, in the U.S., where you've got Hegseth, who never rose above major. That's 6 ranks below general. Well, not 6 ranks below 3-star generals, say. He's got very limited military experience, and he fired a ton of competent generals. And Trump, of course, is not competent, and so they're not. And Hegseth wants a manly military that you can get steroids if you want. If your testosterone isn't high enough, they'll give you testosterone. This does nothing in terms of modern warfare. This is like Trump wants battleships that look like World War II battle aircraft carriers. It's all performative stupidity.
So are you saying that with testosterone available, U.S. would win the war against Iran?
No, I'm saying that's stupid, that you don't need to have a level of 850 on your testosterone to fly a freaking drone. The sailors on the Abraham Lincoln, they don't need to be pumped full of testosterone. I'm sure that now there are plenty of freaking big ass Ukrainians like Klitschko, the mayor of Kyiv. Was an MMA fighter, but he's not fighting on the front lines right now, and you don't need a bunch of freaking muscle guys to wage modern warfare.
Speaking of muscle guys and everything like that, hey Sasha, I know that for a long time people had been wondering about the health of Putin and all along those lines, but it looked like he actually appeared in an event today. So he was inspected on Thursday, the open sarcophagus of a medieval warrior prince, Dmitry Donsky. So his remains were recently uncovered during restoration work at Moscow's Cathedral of the Archangel, and lying within the Kremlin fortress. The Orthodox Cathedral served as the burial site for more than 40 Russian czars and princes down the centuries. But it looks like there was a ceremony earlier today where he lit a candle inside the frescoed cathedral and stood beside the white stone burial parts of this particular past prince that lived back in the 14th century and everything like that. So they announced the discovery on Tuesday, saying the well-preserved remains were nearly complete and belonged to a man of just under 180 centimeters, which would be 5 feet 11 inches, who had died of natural causes between the ages of 35 and 45. And so it looks like he's in decent health. I know there was a lot of questions as to what his health was like and whether he would be making public appearances, but it looks like he made at least a church appearance. I don't see a lot of people in this particular picture, but it does look like there were some church officials and everything like that. So is he in better health than we think he is?
I have no comments. Go to next topic.
Okay.
All
right, next topic, the bond market. So the U.S. has to issue lots of debt because we've generated lots of debt, and which means we have to sell bonds to investors to cover the debt. And because the U.S. is kind of drunk right now, we're more of a credit risk, so we have to offer higher interest rates on the bonds to attract buyers. And Scott Bessent, who is the Treasury Secretary, announced a buyback program from the government to ease the increasing interest rates. And that held for just a couple hours before the bond yields jump back up again. So, Sasha, can you help explain this?
Well, it's a very simple situation. The purpose of this new Fed chairman appointed by Trump was to lower interest rates right away or thereafter very soon. But it cannot happen simply because US dollar, as a result of the bond market, is going all the way down. So buyers of 30 years bond, they're saying that, look, we're taking enormous risk. What's going to happen in 30 years since we have to hold the bond? And interest rates may go much higher, to 15, maybe 20 percent a year, and we get stuck with bonds at present fairly low interest rates. No, we don't want to do it. We need higher interest rates to offset the risk that we are taking, especially the dollar going down the drain almost every day. So if U.S. Treasury agrees to paying higher interest rates to bondholders, how you can lower interest rates on your own market when you have to pay exuberant high interest rates on the foreign markets. So this exercise, Betsy, actually he has some kind of speech scheduled for Monday. It will be very interesting to listen what he has to say, because in my opinion, it's an absolutely impossible situation when higher interest rates, the mortgages will have much. People who have a lot of houses today and their mortgage is expiring in the next few months, even a year or so, they will be met with colossal increase in interest rates and therefore payments, and a lot of them would have to just walk away from their properties. They will not be able to afford to pay higher interest rates. The new home buyers, they're out of the market already. Nobody can buy new home. I don't know who's buying new homes today, because the mortgages are getting higher and higher. And so the car loans, the loans what companies are paying because they have to update their infrastructure, or just to buy new machinery or whatever, everything is going to suffer as a result of higher interest rates, lower dollar. Don't forget that US still imports huge number of things from Europe, from Latin America, from Asia. So everything, the trade balance will go definitely against United States.
So the average 30-year new mortgage rate is 6 2/3%. That's brutal. At various times in the 21st century, you could get teaser rates of 2.5%, which is less than 40%. Now, that would have led to a crash too. There was a push to get everybody into a house in 2007, and they were issuing super cheap mortgages to people who really didn't have the income to afford it, and that it was all part of a massive scam that caused a huge recession. But still, 2.5% versus more than 6.5%. Yeah, it's bad for home buyers.
You know what was happening at that time? The bankers would come to your home and say, "Why the hell are you renting? We can put you in your own house." "Oh, we don't have money." "Don't worry, you don't need down payment. We will arrange for you a huge mortgage at very good interest rates. Not only that, we'll give you also $25,000 cash for moving in the new house." People like the deal. They would grab $25,000, fly to Las Vegas, have a good time there, coming back, take a key from that property, get back to the bank. "Okay, here's your keys. Thank you very much. We had a good time."
And then they would package those bad, risky mortgages, because they take somebody who worked at a Jack in the Box or a McDonald's who made $800 a month, say, and they'd say, "Here's a home in Las Vegas, 2,200 square feet, and we can get you a teaser mortgage rate of $750 a month." And the McDonald's guy says, "Yeah, that sounds great for me and my family." That teaser rate lasts for 18 months, for 2 years, and then it jumps up to $2,000 a month. Then the poor, the family is like, "We can't pay that." They move out of the house, and then you've got this, trashed house, because it sits vacant because people can't. It was a disaster.
It was in Florida, the same thing. In Florida, there are a lot of houses. Remember that movie, Big Short?
Yeah.
There were houses infested by crocodiles.
Yeah, it explained the whole thing. But now it's kind of the opposite situation, where instead of getting a mortgage rate at 2%, it's going to cost you close to 7%. Nobody can afford that. You know, in Los Angeles, houses cost about $1,000 a square foot. So even a little teeny house is going to be $1 million.
Yeah.
And the interest on that is going to be $65,000 a year. Who can afford that? That's more than $5,000 a month just in interest, not including any principal payment.
Well, all you can do is to try to stop making any payments. Stay in the house as long as possible. Go through, okay, there will be court decisions. You have to vacate the house. You write down that, or you cannot vacate the house at that date, but you can vacate the house at the other date. And the other date comes, you say, no, you cannot leave now, but in a month and a half, you're certainly going to leave, so you will get extension, and so on. So you just stay there for free as long as you can. That's all what you can do. Nothing.
Yeah, and thanks to consumer protection, if you know what you're doing, you can maybe buy yourself an extra 6 months or more. Somebody who's absolutely great at this is Donald Trump. Donald Trump takes out huge loans, and then when they become due, he goes, I can't pay them. Then he renegotiates at a lower rate. Trump and his family have skipped out on $1.5 billion in debt using this technique and a ton of other techniques.
Absolutely. That's well. Unfortunately, you have a crook, a con man as a president, and that's why America is losing credibility everywhere. Even look at these negotiations with Canada. Okay, here is on 19th midnight. Okay, here's 50%. Oh, no. We are not going to put the tariffs on 19th. We'll give another 3 days to negotiate and so on. Look at this lying creature who is he's a clown, really. He's not a president of a country. Come on. What a clown.
Yeah, he's definitely a clown and everything like that. Before we get ready to wind up, because I got to do the 6 o'clock show and all along those lines, how concerned are you about the grain industry? Because a lot of people depend on bread around the world, and it does look like the grain supply, because of the various wars, is being impacted. And it definitely looks like prices will be continuing to go up in terms of groceries, but bread is one of those grocery items. So how much is your bread being impacted, Rick, and even you there in Canada?
You know, I'm not the bread buyer in the family, but let's plug it into AI. I know that overall prices have gone up 5% under Trump.
Right.
Cost of bread. National average runs $1.82. Reflecting an increase of roughly 20 to 26% since 2020, which makes sense. Prices rose 20% under Biden, another 5% under Trump.
Yep, and they're continuing to go up and all along those lines. Hey, Sasha, before we get ready to end the show, and then we'll be back on World Edition later on and everything like that. I just saw that the Taiwan has got one of their highest defense budgets, and of course they're concerned about a number of countries, including China and including Russia to some degree, and everything along those lines.
Well, hold on. Can I mention one more thing about bread that most people have learned? That your most supermarkets have a day-old section where you can buy bread for half off because it hit its sell by, and it's perfectly fine bread.
Yeah. Even if you will buy bread today, the fresh bread, it's not going to stay fresh tomorrow. So you will eat tomorrow yesterday's bread anyway. So you might as well buy one from this bread.
Yep. Okay. Got to do that for sure.
You're a little frozen, which might be an opportunity to close the show. You want to?
Okay.
Yep, I'll do that. So let's go ahead and go do it.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Sasha.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.